Namaskar, this is Manoj Joshi. I've been talking about the different aspects of wellness related to yoga, Vedanta, and particularly in the context of coronavirus pandemic, and how we can really bring out a positive mindset to deal with this problem all over the world. So today is day 24th. That means for the last 23 days, we have been talking about different aspects of it. And I'm so thankful for all of you for your kind listening, giving me comments to inspire me. So in a simple sentence, you are the inspiration for which I'm able to teach yoga and meditation. I'm able to talk to you about the different concepts that I've been practicing, I've been teaching for decades to inspire you, to motivate you, and to create a collective global consciousness, a positive consciousness, so that we all can come out of this pandemic as soon as possible. So today's topic I would like to deal with is how the neuroplasticity or the modern psychology and the ancient concept of mantras, they work together. So mantras and neuroplasticity. What are different mantras and how does it impact our mind and body? And how does it impact from the scientific point of view? So friends, if you look at overall, the one point that I'm trying to drive in is that we are pure consciousness. We are pure consciousness manifesting through this body-mind intelligence complex. If you look at all the Vedantic concepts, this is the one fundamental truth everybody wants to teach, that you are not your body, you have your body. You are not your mind, you have your mind. You are not even your intelligence, but you have these equipments. Just like the president of a nation would have different power, the vehicles, the building, or different power, but they are all given to that person for some time. So in other words, we are the custodians of every resource that is given to us, but we are not the owner of any of this. So from that respect, you are the pure consciousness which is flowing through this body-mind intelligence complex and manifesting different desires that you have. But oftentimes what happens that we do not know how to use these equipments. I often say to my clients, like if you think about a red Ferrari sitting on your driveway, but you do not know how to drive it. So there is no use of that having in your driveway, right? So unless you learn how to drive it and enjoy the car, the actual purpose of the car will not be manifested and you will not enjoy that. So likewise, our mind is so powerful, but if you do not know how to use your mind as an equipment, which probably costs $1 million, maybe $65 million, somebody quotes, the power of the cost of your mind over a period of time. But if you do not know how to use it, it will have negative impact on us. I've already told in my previous talks that mind can be our best friend, or the same mind can also be our worst enemy. So what it means that on a daily basis, if you think about 50,000-60,000 thoughts that we are processing throughout the day, and most of those thoughts, if you really analyze, they're not very positive, they're rather more negative. In Pranashakti healing, we talk about something called psychic attacks. That means somebody has an evil thought about you, and that could impact your life. So most of the time, it happens so that we ourselves exert more negative thoughts. We kind of self-sabotage ourselves all our life. Think about, if you analyze all the thoughts that happened last night or complete last 24 hours, majority of them would be minimizing thoughts, like, you can't do that, you're too short, you belong to this family, you have got less degrees, you have fear inside you, you are nervous when it comes to public speaking. So there are so many things that we know ourselves, and then we have been talking to our own self in a very negative way. So our thoughts matter. For the last 20 years, the psychologists have been thinking about the way our mind works. Initially, they thought that our mind is more like a rigid material. Like if a neuron dies, the brain cells never come back again, just like any other cell. But recently, for the last 20 years, they have been experimenting and talking about a concept called neuroplasticity. That means our brain is like a plastic material. It can be moldable. And how do you do that? By using your mind. See, your brain and mind are two different things, isn't it? The brain is like a hardware and the mind is like a software. So, using this mind through constant repetitions of positive thoughts, you can change your brain, and that is called the neuroplasticity. So there are many different aspects of neurophysiology or neurosculpting, neuroplasticity. These are the modern terms. What the ancient rishis talked about, the power of mantras. By repetitions of different positive affirmations or different frequencies of energy, through different chantings, different words, different syllables, you are able to influence your brain. So the mind over body. If you look at 80 to 90% of all the diseases that happens to our body are psychosomatic in nature. Psychosomatic. Psycho means mind and soma is body. That means mind induced body problem. So the fix also has to be like that. That means you have to use your mind to fix the body. Just like we say, set a thief to catch a thief. Right? So in order to catch a thief, you need to employ one thief who knows exactly where the thieves live. Then only it will be easy for you to catch the thief. So likewise, the mind can heal the mind, or the mind can heal the body. The mind can heal the brain. So those are the concept of neuroplasticity. Now, if you look at the basic understanding and how a thought happens, I would like to quote Mahatma Gandhi. He said, your belief becomes your thoughts becomes your words becomes your action, and your action becomes a habit, and your habit becomes a value, and your values becomes your destiny. So from the belief to the destiny, they are all connected through your thoughts. That means if you want to change your destiny, you may think about many different ways. You might go to an astrologer, get a stone or multiple stones, or do this, do that. There are so many different ways, or do the vastu and things like that. Those are all good things. No doubt about it, because they connect your mind. But most important thing and most effective thing is to change your thought patterns, change your belief patterns, because our mind is most powerful instrument given in this universe. So if we do not know how to use this red Ferrari sitting on a driveway, then we are losing the potential of having that pleasure of riding something which is so expensive and so beautiful. That means if our mind is so powerful, we definitely should make every effort possible to learn how to use it. And fortunately, the science of yoga, the science of Vedanta, meditation, pranayama, all these things are wonderful techniques of managing our mind. So you might ask, like, well, how does it work? So one of the simple way that I explain to my clients is, like, in order to be teaching something, you need to have a coachable mind. If the mind is not receptive, the things do not work properly. Like for example, if you are training your child about the basic sanity of washing the hands, if you say that to the child when the child is hungry and angry and lonely or tired, something the mind is not very receptive, in a cranky mode, of course the child is not going to listen to you. You say, son, go and then wash your hands. Then the son will reply, no, I'm not going to wash my hands. Right? Because the mind is rebelling at that point. It's not coachable. But if you smartly put a spoon of honey into his mouth, or give him something healthy food, something that really fills the stomach, and then he feels good, and then you become a little bit more funny and say that, like, hey, I'm going to wash my hands right now, who is going to follow me? Something more jocular, something more funny, so that that person would go and follow you and then wash his hands. So that means what you're doing is you're trying to make the child's mind more pliable, more coachable, and then you give the suggestion, hey, washing hands is good. Then that will go to the subconscious mind and becomes a habit. And the same thing applies to our own mind. So when you try to relax your mind using different techniques of yoga nidra, meditation, yoga, breathing techniques, positive affirmations, well, there's so many techniques. So once you calm down your mind and take that mind to an alpha state of consciousness, then mind becomes more receptive. In that receptive state of mind, it's much easier to coach the mind, because mind is like a monkey. And sometimes they say the monkey is just not a normal monkey, it's a drunken monkey, and it's also stung by a scorpion. So think about a monkey which is drunken and stung by a scorpion, how wild and how difficult it will be to tame that monkey. So likewise, our mind moves from thoughts to thoughts every time, and particularly when you have stress, when you have worries, anxieties, fear, anger, frustration, confusion, different kind of mental problems, then the mind becomes even more difficult, more wild to tame, more wild to coach. So that is why it needs consistent effort, daily deliberate practice, which is the intent of mantras. I've already talked about, in one of the days, I think day 5, we talked about mantra, yantra and tantra. So the mantra is a very powerful concept. It's like a software which can have the power to change the hardware, which is your brain. So when you repeat a mantra, it creates positive vibrations in your body. Every word that you utter or every thought that you make, it creates subtle vibrations, because from the quantum mechanics point of view, everything is a matter of energy only, or matter and energy and consciousness. Those three things are interplaying with each other. So the consciousness is the pure nature of us, and that influences the matter and energy. Our body and mind are created with the matter and energy. Like the Pancha Mahabhut we talk about, the different concept of Sattva, Raja and Tama. So all the different complexities create our body and mind. And when you apply the consciousness or the pure awareness and then nurture that awareness, culture that awareness, cultivate that awareness through your meditation practice, through your mantra chanting, and that becomes a very powerful tool to influence your mind in a positive way. And when the mind is influenced in a positive way, it also has its impact in the brain. And that is the basic science of neuroplasticity. If you look at the basic anatomy of a mantra, which is a phrase, a powerful thought, or a complete sentence, or even something that you have invested your energy into that to see some results, you establish some confidence by saying a particular phrase of words that has always worked with you to build confidence or to get some positive lock to your life. So all these things have been experimented by you by saying in a particular way. So those mantras have got three things. So one is the basic idea, one is the emotion, and the third component is your vital energy, your prana. Now think about a mantra which you chant with a lot of emotions, with a lot of positive feelings. Then obviously that mantra will have more power to influence your subconscious mind. That power will have more vibrations to stimulate every cell, every tissue, every organ in your body and mind, and that will have more impact in making those beliefs into your destiny. So the whole cycle of belief to thought, thought to words, words to action, action to habit, habit to your destiny, that cycle will become more iterative, and more iterations that you go through, the more maturity it makes inside you. That means you can have psychological maturity faster, you can have emotional maturity, you can have spiritual maturity. That means your intelligent quotient will be higher, your emotional quotient will be higher, your moral quotient will be higher, your spiritual quotient will be higher. So with these 5 quotients, you will become a wonderful personality. You will be unstoppable. Everything that you touch becomes a gold. every project that you undertake becomes a success. Because you know the art of how to have an idea, what is the idea that connects your mind based on your beliefs, and how to infuse that emotion into it through your practice, and then how to give that vital energy into that. And that is the science of yoga, pranayama, meditation, yoga nidra, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and all the different science that influences the human mind, that plays with the human mind. So you do multiple of things. For example, if you look at, if you do a kirtan, if you do a bhajan, or if you do some singing, so your whole emotion is involved in that. Your whole body is involved in that. You clap, you move your body here and there. That also influences your spinal column, your chakra get balanced. So all the things that we do, using our body, using our breath, using our mind, using our thought, using our feelings. So that is the combination of something that I talked the other day about the different paths of yoga. The Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. The Karma Yoga, the path of action. The Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. The Raj Yoga, the path of meditation. So all the things merge together and gives you a magical potion or recipe to influence your mind and body in a very profound way, and that makes the manifestations much easier. That is why mantras have been so powerful. People invest so much of money to acquire a mantra from a guru. Right? So if the guru can understand your problem, understand your nature, and give you something that connects to your mind, then of course it is going to work. Yesterday we talked about how the mindset matters. How having a positive mindset can have a placebo effect. And that will have. And 33% of all the healing happens because of this placebo effect. So that is how the neuroplasticity, the most modern concept that we are talking about, the mind over brain, that can be practiced with mantra chanting. It reminds me of a scientist called Emoto Masaru. He is a Japanese scientist, he was a Japanese scientist, and he experimented something spectacular. So what he did is he took a water sample and then he used to infuse certain words or mantras into it, some positive thoughts. He will crystallize that water and take a picture in a special camera and look at what is the crystallized formation, how does it look under that special camera. So what he found that if you say positive words and positive affirmations to the word, like I thank you, I love you, you're so wonderful, you're so beautiful, you're so kind, you're so compassionate. So all these things, different positive words, and then you crystallize that water and he took the picture, it become beautiful crystals, very beautiful, very symmetric. But on the other hand, if you use some negative words, like I hate you, I'll kill you, you're such a nasty person, I don't like you, then the water becomes very ugly, very muddy, no life into that, no beauty of that, no symmetry, unstructured, just like a mud. And he experimented with many different things, with a prayer word, taking the water from a holy river, or taking the water from a drain, or using the word Mother Teresa, which will have a positive impact, using the word Om, which will have a much positive impact, using the word of different mantras, or different negative concepts, like Hitler, it will have a negative impact. So all our thoughts can be infested into the mind, into the water. And that is why you might have heard different stories, like when a sage would try to bless somebody, he will take some water on his palm, and then try to infest some mantras into that, and then sprinkle it on the person, and that becomes a magical power. And even the same thing happens when that person wants to curse somebody. So the same water can be carrier of a ill will, because the mantras can influence your mind. It can influence the vibrations at a cellular level. Every cell's chemistry can change, every cell's electromagnetic vibrations can change through a mantra. So these mantras can be used in a very effective way by knowing the science of mantras, different mudras. All in dance, Indian dance forms, they use different mudras. And if you ask what is the science behind it, as we talked about, we have got these 5 basic elements that we are made up of. Right? All the 5 elements: the earth element, the water element, fire, air and space. So every time you breathe in and out, every time you chant a mantra, every time you eat some food, whatever we do, ultimately it all has a permutation of combination of these 5 elements, and that give rise to different chemicals in our body. And those chemicals can be positive chemicals, positive hormones, negative hormones, things like that. It can be toxic, or it can be like a elixir, like a nectar. So when you apply this concept of mudras, that means you're controlling the way that 5 elements are getting decomposed into vital energy called the prana in your body. For example, the thumb represents the fire element, the pointer represents the air element, the middle finger represents the space element, the ring finger represents the earth element, and this one, the little represents the water element. Fire, air, space, earth and water. So when you put these 2 together and do some mantras, or even without mantras also, it can create an impact in your mind. That means if I'm doing this dhyana mudra or jnana mudra, I'm sending a gesture to my mind: dear mind, I'm going to meditate right now, please cooperate with me. So the mind has got this secret formula, secret symbol already embedded. Like certain software comes with your appliance, isn't it? It's already, during the manufacturing time itself it is given. So in a natural way, our body and mind listen to this and cooperate with these mudras in a very natural and effortless way. So when you do a mudra like this, it will have its positive impact in your mind. For example, if you want to lose weight, you have to use this mudra called Surya mudra. That means this represents the earth element and this represents the fire elements. Your earth represents your fat in your body. So when the fire is overpowering the earth, that means you are going to burn more calories. Does this sound a little bit more logical? If you put these 2 mudras together, these 2 fingers together, this is called Varuna mudra. And you can experience right now, if you do this and just observe your mouth for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, you will notice that your mouth will secrete more saliva. I am already creating more saliva just by doing this. Because this will create water in your body. 70% of our body is made up of water. Now think about putting it all together. Masaru Emoto's experiment with water, with positive mantra and positive sound, how it makes beautiful crystals in the water. So likewise, when you chant a mantra in your mind, like Om Namah Shivaya, like I'm the pure consciousness, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, I'm the pure consciousness, I'm the pure bliss, I'm the pure existence, I am good. Like even your mantra, like your goal, I'm totally healthy, I'm truly happy, I'm building a stronger immune system. So when you chant these mantras in a repetitive way, that creates a subtle vibrations in your body, in your blood, in your mind, and that influences the power of these 5 elements. And then your chemistry will change. Your thought pattern will change. You'll no longer be doing psychic attacks on your own body and mind. You'll not be able to speak any negative thoughts about yourself and others. You'll be very polished. Your behavior will change automatically. So instead of whole cycle of this belief to thought, thought to words, words to action, and action to your habits, all these things, you can do a shortcut by applying the mantras. That means if you chant a mantra n number of times, your vibrations will improve. Your energy level will flow from the lower Muladhara chakra, the base of the spine, to a higher chakras, higher energy centers in your body, and that will influence your personality in a very dramatic way, in a short amount of time. That is why mantras have been very powerful. A mantra could be locked or unlocked. That means if you just take it something from the internet, it might have some impact. But if you get it from somebody who has already practiced that with millions of times of chanting, that person has really seen the value of that with thousands of clients. That person can build that confidence inside you. It's like having that software properly installed. Like if you're going to install Oracle, application server or Oracle business applications, which is a huge complex software, of course it will take some time to install on your hardware. And sometimes the installation is not correct. you will not get the result. It will crash. Like you will have this problem with your computer. So likewise, in order to have a proper mantra installed inside your mind and body, it need to get it from the right person with the right intention. And if you practice in a proper way, it will create the proper vibration. So in order to get the complete result in the predictable way, in a desired way, you have to do it in the right way. If you do not do it the right way, you may not get the right result. And also you can use some amplifier concepts. Say for example, I have been practicing Pranashakti for over 10 years right now. Every breath I have tuned myself to chant Pranashakti 5 times inhalation, 5 times exhalation, the simple meditation that we have been practicing in these talks. So if you have already got the siddhi or acquired the power of a simple word like Pranashakti, so you can use that Pranashakti as an amplifier. What's an amplifier? Like if I speak to my class, I can reach out to 50 people or 100 people. But if I go to my radio show or talk to something what I'm doing in Facebook Live, I can reach out to thousands of people because I'm using this technology as an amplifier to my simple voice. So likewise, a mantra like Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, which will be meaningful to remove my obstacles from my life, can be more powerful when I add a mantra that I have got the confidence with. I will say Om Pranashakti Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So I'm using this Pranashakti as an amplifier here. So when I do that, the power of Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha to remove the obstacles can be manifold. And those are the kind of tricks that you have to practice. And if you really talk to someone that you believe in for a personal consultation, that person can go deeper within and explain you the concept, help you to connect these dots together that you might have already learned from many different sources. Unless you do those things properly, you'll not have that impact. Like no matter how much you learn different pieces of a dance, like if you don't practice it well and don't learn it from a teacher, from a classical dance teacher, probably you will not be able to be a perfect dancer. And that applies to all these sports also. Like if you have too much of skills in swimming or running or archery, unless you go to a proper coach, probably it will be very difficult to go to Olympics and get the gold reward. So you have to have some expert coaching to understand the subtle aspects of this secret science which the rishis have doctrined. So anybody who has practiced more and more and you have been able to connect with that person, and that will improve your chance of practicing your mantras in order to change your brain patterns, your thought patterns, what we have been talking about, neuroplasticity. So the neuroplasticity can be a practiced experience by influencing the mantras in the right perspective. So over these talks, what we are doing is we are trying to create a global neuroplasticity, so-called. Like we are trying to influence the global mindset, the global consciousness through these talks, so that we all collectively can overcome the situation of coronavirus pandemic in a positive and sustainable way all over the world. Because our minds are connected, we are sharing the same consciousness. So if I'm investing this time to talk to you guys, and if you're thinking about it in the proper way, and if you share it with other people, so if more and more people practice the same thought in the same meditation in the same time, probably it can have a bonanza impact. It can have a cascading impact. It can have ripple effects. And that will create the desired result in a magical way. So with these talks and thoughts, let's settle down for a couple of minutes of meditation the way that I've been doing it. So keep your palms together and take this moment to remind yourself of your sankalpa or your thought. The goal behind these practices, these talks, is to have total health, physical, mental, emotional, social and spiritual health, to have true happiness, which is beyond the conditional boundaries of things and beings, relations and possessions, and also to have a strong immune system at a physical level, at a vital level, and also at a spiritual level, so that we protect our physical body, our emotional body, our mind body, and our spiritual body. And keep that whole thing into an amplifying mantra like Prana Shakti. And blend that with your breath. So every time you breathe in, chant 5 times Prana Shakti, focusing your mind into your heart center. We've already talked about the power of heart center and the merger of the heart and the mind together to create the desired amount of electromagnetic waves to cause that neuroplasticity we talked about today. So trust that this practice of simple meditation, when you do it 5 minutes, couple of times throughout the day, you'll be able to see the impact of it right away. So for today, we'll just do it for 1 more minute. So just breathe in, chant Prana Shakti 5 times in your mind, breathe out, chant 5 times Prana Shakti in your mind, and just feel there's a beautiful radiant light in your heart. Your sleep time can be very powerful to educate every cell in your body and to cause that neuroplasticity. So with that knowledge, let's complete this practice with a peace prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.